Live from Television Hill, this is WJZ Breaking News.
I-695 backed up for hours. Maryland State Police confirmed 6 people have died in a serious crash on the Beltway in Baltimore County. And the WJZ drone was over the scene a short time ago, where you can see there is still a large emergency response. And 3 hours later, there is still a large traffic impact. Hello, everyone. I'm Vic Carter.
And I'm Denise Koch. Well, the crash happened shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon. It happened on the inner loop of 695, just before exit 17, Security Boulevard, and near I-70 in Woodlawn in Baltimore County. Now, it shut down all lanes in both directions. Avajoy
Burnett is live near the scene of this crash. Avajoy, do we know how this happened?
No update at this point from officials on how this all happened. In fact, there are investigators still here on the scene, so we're still waiting to get additional details on this. What I can tell you is 6 people have been killed here, at least 6, according to Maryland State Police. The traffic in both directions is moving, according to the State Highway Administration, but we're also seeing that we believe on the outer loop, traffic stopped once again. We're not sure if this is temporary or if it will be for a more sustained period of time. This area was shut down for at least 2 hours, and we do know that this really significant crash happened in a construction zone. We don't know, however, if the people who were killed here were working in this area. Right around 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, a catastrophic crash shut down both directions of 695 and Windsor Mill.
So when I came down Ambassador Road, I seen all of this, but he was on the phone saying, oh, wait a minute, it's like 20 police officers, running down the highway.
About an hour and 40 minutes after the crash, Maryland State Police confirmed the details. At least 6 people died as a result of the crash.
As soon as I got on, the motorcycle bike just went flying right by me.
A view from Chopper above showed the extent of the scene. While 695 was shut down in both directions near Liberty Road and the Security Boulevard exits, people sat in their cars for at least 2 hours. County Executive John Yashevsky tweeted, "We offer sincere condolences to the families, friends, and loved ones of those who have lost their lives in today's tragic crash, and my prayers remain with those injured in this horrific incident. For bystanders who first watched, then heard the update of multiple people being dead, there were prayers and gratitude."
I'm praying for the family because, like I said, my son is only probably about a few cars back.
Governor Westmore also tweeted about this tragedy here in Baltimore County. He said, in part, "My heart goes out to the victims and the families affected by this tragic crash on 695 this afternoon." He went on to say his office is monitoring the situation. At this point, we do not have the identities of the 6 people who have been killed here on 695. But once again, Maryland State Police, they're saying at least 6 people have died after this tragic crash in Baltimore County. Live tonight, Avajoy Burnett for WJZ.
All right, thank you very much, Avajoy. Now, the crash, of course, could make for a difficult evening commute.
WJZ is live with First Alert Traffic. Christy Breslin joins us over the phone with an update on the impacts from this horrible crash. Christy?
Hi, everybody. Well, yes, it is absolutely horrific and heartbreaking, and it really couldn't have happened at a worse time. So, as we have mentioned, it happened around 1 o'clock, and the good news is a couple lanes on the inner loop are getting by, but as Avajoy had mentioned, the outer loop right now is stopped. So we're seeing significant delays in both directions. Now, there's a couple alternates that you could take. That's going to include Rolling Road, Windsor Mill Road, or Liberty Road. Unfortunately, a lot of these are backed up as well. So the best-case scenario would be to avoid the area if at all possible. But, of course, we're going to keep you updated on everything that you need to know. But once again, it is very congested on both the inner and the outer loop of the Beltway on the west side, and this is between Security Boulevard and 70. So we'll keep you updated throughout the night. Back over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Christy. Now, again, at this time, we know the accident. It happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon. State police say at least 6 people have been killed. Now, it's on the inner loop of I-695 where it took place just before exit 17 at Security Boulevard, and it is still causing traffic delays.
And the cause of the crash remains under investigation. And of course, as we learn more, we'll bring you updates on air, streaming on CBS News Baltimore and on WJZ.com. The FAA is investigating a close call at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport between a Southwest jet and an ambulance. The January incident is only now coming to light and is one of several that have raised concerns about aviation safety in recent months. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren is live at the airport with what we're learning now. Mike.
Vic, BWI Marshall tells us that new safety measures are now in place after a fire and rescue vehicle crossed over a runway when it should not have done so. Frightening moments at BWI Marshall after a Southwest jet taking off for Chicago on January 12th came within 173 feet, or about half a football field, from colliding with an ambulance on a runway. Here's what the pilot said moments later.
Southwest 471 switching over. What was the issue there with the ambulance? Yeah, we actually put them to, so we're going to investigate that. Sorry about that.
According to the FAA's preliminary incident report obtained by WJZ, the Southwest jet was traveling 168 miles an hour, and the medic vehicle was allowed to cross one runway but told to wait for the plane. But the driver misheard. BWI told us in a statement the airport fully cooperated and shared information with the FAA regarding the incident. And new procedures were immediately implemented to help ensure safety and to prevent a similar incident in the future. Safety and security remain the highest priorities for BWI Marshall Airport.
As we look at the recent incidents of the last year or so,
the FAA held their first emergency safety summit in 14 years last week to address safety concerns, including at least 7 other near misses at U.S. airports in the past 3 months, including a near collision 3 weeks ago between American and United jets at nearby Washington Reagan Airport.
Boarding takeoff, United 2003.
These recent incidents must serve as a wake-up call for every single one of us before something more catastrophic occurs.
Some analysts blame a rise in post-pandemic travel combined with staff shortages and a surge in new hires.
Now we're short-staffed, we're playing catch-up, and when the system is under pressure, we're seeing these kinds of incidents pop up as warnings to not try to fly more than we should.
And today, the FAA released a new call-to-action safety alert urging airlines and airports to better communicate about safety issues and runway protocols. Reporting live at BWI Marshall Airport, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
All right, thank you, Mike. Well, tonight there are some new developments after last week's explosion and fire at the Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant in Dundalk. And Nikki Zizaza joined us now with an update. Nikki?
Denise, the Department of Public Works tells us Synagro Technologies is working on repairs to its centrifuge machines. Those are devices used in waste processing to separate solids from liquids. Now, 1 week ago today, firefighters were called to a plant for a fire that broke out in a building being used to convert waste into agricultural pellets. We're told those materials were not hazardous and were contained to the site. Although there was significant damage to the building, no injuries were reported. Now, federal and local authorities are still working to try to figure out the cause of the explosion. Vic?
Nikki, thank you. 2 Baltimore City schools released students early today after reporting gas leaks. Franklin Square Elementary Middle School dismissed students around 10:30 this morning. School officials say some students reported symptoms from the gas. About an hour and a half later, students were dismissed from Hazelwood Elementary Middle School due to a gas leak there. At this point, it's not clear if classes will be affected tomorrow.
City police are searching for 2 suspects wanted in connection to an armed carjacking and robbery in downtown Baltimore. Now, it happened on Light Street around 6:15 this morning. Police say a man was approached by 2 people who demanded the keys to his Lamborghini as well as his phone and his wallet. He handed them over, and one of the suspects took off in the Lamborghini, the other in a Dodge Charger. Police say the man was not hurt in the incident.
Parents are making their voices heard in the search for a new school superintendent in Baltimore County. Last night was the first meeting. If you missed it, you have another chance to join in the conversation tonight at Newtown and Perry Hall High Schools, and tomorrow at Chesapeake High and Hereford Middle. The meetings begin at 7 p.m. The Board of Education hopes to have the superintendent position filled by July.
Well, let's talk about the weather now because spring is here and so are these beautiful warmer temperatures.
Let's take a live look over downtown Baltimore. We saw some sun and highs in the mid-60s today.
And Chief Meteorologist Derek Beasley is in the First Alert Weather Center with how long this spring weather, well, hopefully all spring, will stick around, Derek.
Well, it looks like it'll stick around for at least another day or so as we're expecting those temperatures to continue going up into tomorrow. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But this evening's plans actually not looking too bad. It ended up being a pretty nice afternoon. Just some thick clouds in the wake of the overcast skies that we had early this morning. Let's take a look at your radar right now. We're looking at dry conditions across our area with those temperatures across the metro ranging anywhere from the low 60s up towards the Falston area, back towards the south and west, a little warmer in Howard County right now. Clarksville coming in at about 67. And we've had a southerly wind that's been a little stronger today out of the south at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. So it's been a little breezy here throughout the day. Rain to our south, rain to our west, and we're going to get into some of that here later on tonight. We do expect rain chances to increase after midnight tonight. And your Thursday morning plans looking a little wet at this point. Temperatures overnight, though, are going to be relatively mild into the lower 50s here across the area, but should stay dry for your evening plans. The one sign of spring, of course, is D.C.'s cherry blossoms that are moving closer to peak bloom. Alex Glaze is live in the WJZ First Alert Mobile Weather Lab down at the Tidal Basin, which has seen a lot of visitors today taking advantage of that nice weather. Alex?
Yeah, that's right, Derek. Look, I'm not really that great at math, but if my math is correct, it's the third day of spring, and it certainly felt like it out here today. Let's take a look at these cherry blossoms. Like you mentioned, not quite in full bloom just yet, not quite reaching that peak bloom, but the people out here today, they didn't care at all. These cherry blossoms draw a huge crowd every year, and whether this is your first time or you've seen these cherry blossoms 50 times, almost everyone feels something.
As the cherry blossoms near peak bloom.
It's beautiful. I mean, I have cherry blossoms at home, but definitely not this many.
A sea of pink and white surrounds the Tidal Basin, attracting thousands to come out and enjoy the spring weather. It might not be peak day, but it was the perfect day for a bath, a nature bath.
This is kind of quasi-nature bath, but it's a mental health practice, really, for feeling better.
Everybody sees something different when they look at the cherry blossoms. Some see the obvious.
Pink.
Pink, yeah.
They're really pretty.
Some see a deeper meaning.
It has the history of the Japanese gift to the U.S., and so it's not only, nature and beautiful, but it has sentimentality and history as well.
In 1912, the mayor of Tokyo gifted the United States 3,000 cherry trees, a gift celebrating the friendship between Japanese and American people. Whether you know the history of these trees or not, the cherry blossoms seem to make people feel something.
When you think about the blooms and the possibilities, so we're just coming out of winter and hibernation, and so I look at the blooms and the blossoms as hope and possibility going forward in the year.
Still have a lot of people out here taking in these cherry blossoms. Now, peak bloom was supposed to start today. The prediction was March 22nd through the 25th, which is Saturday. So still plenty of time to get out here and take in the cherry blossoms when they're at their peak if you weren't able to make it out here today. I'm Alex Glaze reporting for WJZ.
Alex, thank you very much. Beautiful day out there. Another sign of spring. The Baltimore Farmers Market is getting ready to reopen under the Jones Falls Expressway.
So this is going to be the 46th season for the market. It reopens April the 2nd at 7 a.m. And not only will you get to check out all the vendors, but you'll also get to enjoy the first B-side event of the year. That includes local music, special activities.
The theme of the April B-side is the house that Baltimore built, showcasing some of the city's best house DJs.
It's going to be rocking under the Jones Falls, I predict.
And pick up your eggplants.
At the same time.
Squash and so forth.
Yes.
Still ahead on WJZ News at 4.
We're staying on top of that breaking news again. At least 6 people dead in a crash in a work zone on the inner loop of I-695 in Baltimore County. We will have a live update from the scene.
As TikTok's CEO gets ready to testify on Capitol Hill, the popular video app is making some changes. We'll explain what's being done to protect users.
And it looks like we've seen our last dry day for a little while as we're tracking our next chance for rain. We'll let you know when it arrives coming up in your First Alert forecast.